Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
I'm going to test you today. I'm going to test you. Test you to see if there's, if I can get away with doing something. Jared read the title of today's show and he's like, what? And I said, all will be revealed in good time, Grasshopper. All will be revealed in good time.
I have no idea where the show's going.
You're not supposed to look down while I'm drinking out of the water bottle.
Oh, okay.
You did that. You just looked. I was drinking out of the water bottle. You looked down. You're supposed to keep your head up and say something. No, I've got it. Last week, we did a public service announcement. And, because we try and be helpful. We try and participate. We try and bring some dialogue to the table. Some positive dialogue. Isn't that what we do, Jared?
Yes.
We bring positive dialogue to the table. And our hardcore fans are like, oh, what's he getting at? What's he getting at? He's going to call somebody a dick this week. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Not this week.
No. We do have a public service announcement for you. And today's public service announcement is for all of you lawful gun carriers. Yes, all of you in the United States of America who are free men and free women, and you go about your daily life armed because you're not a peasant, because you're a citizen. And citizens don't need to request permission from their employees to be armed. And for all of you who are listening to me, you know what's cool, Jared? I was going to say listening to me in Europe and Australia. Australia, g'day. G'day, mate. In New Zealand, what's up, Kiwis? For all of you,
I ate a kiwi last night and it was freaking delicious. I haven't had one in
Really? Did you peel it first, or did Alex peel it for you?
I cut it in half and
just ate the middle. I gotcha. But for those of you who are listening to me in nations where your slave masters have disarmed you and have essentially put you in a position where you're little more than a comfortable tax slave. There's varying levels of comfort depending on where you are. But if your masters in your government, if you're in your state and nation's capitals, if they've decided that you as a peasantry cannot be trusted with arms, you are a tax slave. And whether it makes you happy or angry or whether you agree with me or not, that's like saying, I don't agree with you there, Paul. I really don't. I have to take issue. I take umbrage with your description. You can take umbrage all you want, but I'm going to ask you this. Are you in possession of a sword right now? Do you possess the sword? Yes, no, maybe. I'm going to count to 3. If you can't lay your hands on a sword in 3 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003. What did I just lay my hands on, Jared?
An AK.
Actually, it's not an AK.
It looks like an AK from over here.
It's the VZ 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just saw the mag.
Well, a lot of people confuse this gun with an AK, but it is...
I'm sorry, banana clip.
It's a banana clip. It has a banana clip on it. But for those of you in the United States of America, for those of you that are citizens, not slaves, and you carry a gun. Now, some of you live in Constitution carry states, right? Like Mississippi and many others. And some of you live in states where they have shall issue, and you get yourself a concealed carry permit, or what I like to call a firearms passport. I can take my firearms passport and I can cross state borders, and I'm good as far as carrying a gun. I can go to Florida, I can go to Alabama, I go to Texas, go to Louisiana, and I'm good the whole time because I have my firearms passport from Mississippi. Now, I've dealt with this topic before, but sweet Buddha on a rubber raft, it keeps popping up like herpes. It keeps coming back. Just this morning, somebody put a thing. I love you people. I really do. But you got to stop this. Some knucklehead shared this thing about a concealed weapons permit holder badge. A metal badge, a shiny badge with a shield and a star in the middle. You're like, but it doesn't say police or deputy sheriff. It says concealed weapons permit holder. And why is that a bad idea? Stop yourselves. First of all, you don't need, all right, you know what a badge is? What does a badge represent? What does it mean? It means that person standing in front of you in that polyester uniform with that shiny piece of metal on their chest or on their jacket, means that they have been given special authority and directives by the state. And when I say state, I mean small s, not like capital S, but like either by the city or the county or the actual state, that they've been granted permission to be a law enforcement officer. Now, who is supposed to be in charge of the government in the United States of America? Who is supposed to be in charge of that? Like, well, what do you mean, Paul? The representatives and the senators and the president and the governor and stuff. Those are the ones who are in charge. No, wrong. You fail Civics 101. In Civics 101, in a representative republic, the people who work for the city, the state, the county, the federal government, they are all representatives of the people of the country, of the citizens. The citizens don't work for the government. The government works for the citizen. Now, those guys in the polyester uniforms with the shiny thing, okay, they have been granted the authority of the state to do law enforcement activities, right? To enforce the laws. Why, as a citizen, someone who's not a police officer, do you think it's a good idea to have a badge? You're already the boss. Now, I know a lot of you don't understand that, and many of your fellow citizens have completely failed Civics 101, Representative Republic 101. They don't understand any of that. But first of all, let me show you some truths. Number one, you don't need one. Number two, it's not going to get you out of a ticket. Number three, you could end up in trouble because of it. Well, what do you mean? Well, most states, I know when I was in Ohio, there was a statute forbidding the personation of a police officer. That means to pretend that you are one, or to give people the impression that you are a law enforcement officer when you are not. I don't know if it was a first-class misdemeanor 1 or what it was, but the fact of the matter is, if you portray yourself, if you hold yourself out in public to be a law enforcement officer, such as, wearing uniforms that look like you're a cop, or wearing or carrying a badge. You're like, oh, it says right there on it. Oh, shut up. You know that you're trying to pretend. And you're like, well, if somebody sees my gun and then they see my badge, then they'll what? Then they'll what? Finish your sentence. Oh, they'll just think that I'm a cop and they won't get mad or excited or scared or cry or anything. Yeah. You're not a cop. You don't need a badge. You're already supposed to be the boss. Knock it off with the concealed carry weapon holder badges. All right, that's the end of my PSA for today. Is that good, Jared? Did that work for you?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right.
Does it work for you?
I hope so.
Does
I
it
hope
work for
that
you
I
guys?
never have to bring it up again because...
Oh, you won't. You'll do is you'll just send them a link to this episode. That's what you do. You say things one time, and then you just send them a link.
It's like, who told you that was a good idea? Oh, the guy at the store that was selling them? Oh, the guy at the store who was trying to get you to buy it told you it was a good idea? Oh, there you go. Let's thank our friends at Brownells. Why do you say Brownells first? Because it starts with a B. In my mind.
You know what else starts with a B?
Buddy.
Yes, buddy.
Brownells.com. And if you sign up for their newsletters, and you can find out when they're running specials on ammo and scopes and optics and pieces and parts and guns. You want some guns? Get some guns. That's right. You're an American. You can
know.
Can I buy guns online and have them shipped directly to my house? I don't know. I'm only the director of the FBI. I'll have to check on that. Yeah. Doesn't that make you feel proud to be an American? That, well, are we shocked and surprised?
No.
Comey, the one who that read 650,000 emails in over a weekend. It's like, yeah, we went through them. There's nothing to see there. Really? What do we say?
If you're actually looking
was like
for something,
one email, like per 1.4 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's the same guy. That's the same FBI director who was asked by, I don't know if it was a senator or somebody in the House, whether or not people can buy guns online and have them shipped directly to their house. And the director of the FBI said to the senator, I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. What? That means, ladies and gentlemen, that you know more than the director of the FBI, at least in that case. Isn't that sad? That's sad. But you can go to Brownells and you can buy guns, and they will ship them not to your house, because that's not how it works. They will ship them to your local FFL holder. So wherever you happen to be on planet Earth, find a gun shop and do a transfer, and everybody be happy. Frog Lube. It's green. It's minty fresh. It is a bio-based firearms lubricant, and it is, as of now, extreme. Right. Century Arms, makers of the, all kinds of stuff. They make lots of things that go bang, like the 100% made in the USA C39 V2 AK-47 rifle, which has a banana clip, as Jared pointed out earlier. Banana clip. Which one of our freaks brought that up? Was it Ryan? So it was a Thanksgiving family.
No, it was.
Who was it? It was Ryan. Ryan commented about it. I don't know. It was all our grad program people. So they had a Thanksgiving dinner, and one of their relatives brought up, you can't. You're not even allowed to own the AK. They're having the banana clip. Oh my God. I hadn't heard that term, banana clip, for probably 20 years. Okay, Uncle Frank, you're right. No one should be allowed to own an AK, and they all have banana clips. Just go eat some cranberry sauce there and have fun. Duracoat, why? Because life's too short to have an ugly gun, freak. And you're an American, and you don't need a freaking excuse. You don't need anyone's permission to Duracoat your gun, unless, of course, you live in the People's Republic of New York City, where Nanny Bloomberg made it against the law to Duracoat guns because they are just that insane, and they are that slavish. SWAT Fuel. SWATfuelstore.com. Hey, Jared, guess what I did today? You weren't there, but I was there. I went to lunch, and I saw Erica. And we gave Erica one of our favorite clerks. One of our favorite, not the favorite, because if we say she's the favorite, then all the other girls will get jealous. We don't want that to happen. We don't want
girls don't get jealous.
But anyway, she was talking about getting ready to go to the gym, and she had her little cup thingy, her shaker cup, with the wire ball in it. And we're like, where are you going with that? She goes, I'm getting ready to go work out. I'm taking my pre-workout. I'm like, well, why don't you just take SWAT Fuel? And she goes, I don't know.
Why don't you give me some every other woman?
Yes.
Well, I can't get that for free.
Like every other woman in the world. Well, why don't I'll use one of those if you'll give it to me for free. You know I'm right. Don't even pretend to get offended. Don't even pretend to get offended. But Zachary came to the rescue. Zachary actually had a single dose sample pack of SWAT Fuel. So he gave it to her, and we talked to her today, and she said, wow, I really like that. It didn't give me the jitters or shakes or anything. She said, I took it, and I ran the Ocean Springs Bridge.
Oh, cool.
I was like, rock on. She goes, I ran it faster than I ever have.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm like, rock on.
I'm going to actually do that right now. I'm going to contact her on Facebook and get her to write that down for me.
Yep, do it and send it to Dan. So I gave her, you know what I did? I said, well, you know what to do now, right? She goes, yeah. She said, I'm supposed to talk to Jared. I said,
no, she is. She wants the promo code.
I gave her the promo code. I wrote it down. And the promo code for SWAT Fuel is SOTG 201 Fiber. That's right. Go to SWATfuelStore.com and use SOTG 2015.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you understand. The correct answer that any female should give you is, I'm going to go talk to Jared.
I need to talk to Jared. That's the correct answer. Okay, so there's that. So go if you want to save yourself some money on your multivitamin for a man, or if you want to cut some weight, or you want to have a sharper mind and a stronger body, you go to SWAT Fuel Store and you do it. And because we love you, we're going to give you you're going to get at least 10% off by using that promo code. And our grad program members actually get a special one because they're grad program members. That's another bonus that we do give grad program members that I don't think we promote enough, Jared. You get the Friday bonus show. You get the Tactical Tutor newsletter. You get the exclusive offers, all the patches and stickers and all that. You get first dibs on all of them, especially if we do a limited run, like 100 or something like that. But you also, Jared has worked some special deals, some discount deals, some promo code deals with a few of our friends in the industry. And if you like saving money, well, BINGO, there you go. All right, time for me to sip some water and let somebody else talk.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right. That is always good advice. Go to studentofthegun.com and start from there. Start there and branch out. That's what you need to do. Now, today's topic is called Black Sabbath's Revenge. And Jared, he looked at me. He's like, are you sure that's what you want to call the show, Dad? I'm like, yeah.
That's not what I said.
What did you say?
I said, I don't know what this is.
I don't know what to say about this. Yeah, I think you said, I don't know what to say about that.
What?
I don't think anyone else has ever used the term Black Sabbath's Revenge, but I'm going to use it because I have that kind of brain. Now, if you are around my age, if you're in your 40s or 50s even, or maybe you're even in your 30s, if you're in your 20s, I don't even know what to say to you. You probably don't even know what a Black Sabbath is. You're like, isn't that? I don't even know what that is. I know. If you're like, they're the ones who did the title track for Iron Man for the Robert Downey Jr. movie. That's who Black Sabbath is.
I thought that was AC/DC.
No. They played the song Iron Man during the credits of the movie. Okay. But anyway, they're like, yeah, they wrote that song for that movie.
No. You know what people my age think?
What?
That they did Guitar Hero. They're in Guitar Hero.
Oh, that's right. They're like, they're that band that's in Guitar Hero. Oh, okay.
Specifically this song that we're going to play.
Yeah. So here's the deal. When I was a youngin', I was really into rock and roll and classic rock and roll. And it wasn't too classic yet because, 70s bands were still pretty current in the 80s. But I want Jared to play this song for you. And then after he plays the song, I'm going to describe to you and I'm going to tell you what Black Sabbath's Revenge is. Paranoid by Black Sabbath off the album Paranoid. And a really cool little bit of trivia. And I know this because I watched the Netflix, it was on Netflix. It was a special called The Making of Black Sabbath Paranoid. And they went back and they talked to all the band members about the making of the album. And that was actually the last song that they did. And they did it as filler. Did you know that, Jared? That song, the song Paranoid, wasn't even supposed to be on the album.
No, I didn't.
The album wasn't even supposed to be called Paranoid.
Is that why it's so short?
Yeah. It was supposed to be called something else. And I don't know what they called it. They were going to call it like Misery and Death in the Nuclear Era or something like really dark and nasty. And the record company's like, no. No, you're not going to call it that. But they finished the album and they didn't have enough time. Because back then, if you know, kids, back then they had these black things and they're made out of vinyl and they had grooves on them and you flipped them over and they had an A side and a B side or a side one and a side two. And so the producer's like, look, okay, all the stuff you've done, great, that's fantastic, but we can't turn this album in that short. He's like, we need 3 more minutes. And so they went to Tony Iommi, and Tony is John Osborne, also known as Ozzy, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. And they went to Iommi, and he's in the show. He goes, well, I've got this riff, right? I've got this guitar riff, and this is what it sounds like. There was no lyrics for that. They did the music first, and then they went to Ozzy, and they're like, just can you sing some lyrics to this? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So the song is actually only 2 minutes and 48 seconds long. And it became the title track to the album, and it wasn't even supposed to be there. When they put it all together, like it was an afterthought, which I thought was really interesting because most people, that is the single because it's short. And if you're ever going to, most Black Sabbath songs are really long. And when it, compared to like pop hits, most pop hits are 3 minutes and 30 seconds and they're out. 4 minutes is a long song. A 6-minute song, a 7-minute song, like, no, we're not going to do that. So that was the first. But what is Black Sabbath's Revenge all about? Now, I know that a lot of you crusty old guys out there, and I know there's some of you listening to me, and that's cool. You can be a crusty old guy if you want. But I know a lot of you are like, you're torturing my ears with the devil music. And if you knew how to use Facebook, you'd be on Facebook yelling at me for forcing you to listen to that 2 minute and 48 second devil music song. But let me tell you something.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would say, you know what the cool thing is?
What's that?
So we don't have to force them to do anything. They could turn it off.
That's right. I used to like to listen to you, and then you played that devil music, and I don't listen to you anymore. When I was a kid, I was really, like most teenagers in my era, were really into music. Whatever kind of music, but they were, you consumed it. We weren't browsers when it came to rock and roll music. We consumed these albums. We listened to every track, every beat, every note of every album, whether it was Led Zeppelin's first album or second or number 4 with Stairway to Heaven and Black Sabbath. I had a really good friend named Ron, and he was into the rock and roll music, and his dad was into rock and roll, so he introduced him to things like The Doors and Cream, Jack Bruce, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, all that. And when I think it was 1980. I'm pretty sure that the year was 1980. It was either 80 or 81, but it was right around that time frame when I was like in 8th grade, right? Ron, his dad gave him this book, and it was a Rolling Stone, and it was like the greatest albums, rock and roll albums of all time, or the, whatever. It was like every album, every rock and roll album that had ever been made. They came, and the book was like 2 inches thick. I'm sure you guys used to see these books. It was like, and it was A to Z, artists, ABBA, the Animals, blah, 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 blah. And you say, all right, big deal, Paul. Well, here's what they did. Here's what the pretentious ass clowns at Rolling Stone did. And that was where I'm going to test you. So I'm not allowed to say hole, right? But I can say ass clowns. Jared just shrugged his shoulders. Jared says yes. The pretentious ass clowns at Rolling Stone, what they did was they gave the date. They this album, this band, this album, right? And you had the band. They list all their albums to date, and then they gave like a brief description of the band, and they listed the album, and then they rated it from 1, which is low, to 5 stars, right? And obviously, 5 stars is the highest rating, and they rated like the Rolling Stones and all the classic bands at the time. They rated their albums. And here's the deal: when it came to Black Sabbath, I'm not sure how many albums they had out at the time, because at that time, 1980, if you know anything about your rock and roll history, that was when Ozzy Osbourne had already left the band. He was drinking too much, and they couldn't handle him, and they brought in Ronnie James Dio to be the singer, and they did the Heaven and Hell album, which was just phenomenal. But Black Sabbath was like the Rodney Dangerfield of rock and roll. Listen to me. You older guys today, you hear them on the radio. People talk about them. The MTV, and the music press. They're like the grandfathers of rock and roll, and they revere them, and they talk to them. And hell, they gave Ozzy Osbourne his own freaking reality show. In 1980, every single album that Black Sabbath had out up to that point, the Rolling Stone critics and reviewers gave them 1 star. The only exception was Paranoid, and they gave the album Paranoid 2 stars. Yes. The Rolling Stone critics, the Rolling Stone music critics, completely crapped on Black Sabbath in the 1980s, 1980, that time frame. And when we read that, we were like, oh, fornicate these guys. And as I've grown and as I paid greater attention and as I've watched these things on like VH1's Behind the Music and the making of, and when every time they get a Rolling Stone, they get an official Rolling Stone, whatever, editor, writer, reporter, whatever, they come across to me as pretentious ass clowns. And I'll take that. I'll mark that. So you say, well, what's your point, Paul? You drug me all the way to this point. Well, here's what I want you to think. In 1980, if you were a member of Black Sabbath and you're proud of what you did, you're like, we did, and we're proud of these albums, we're proud of the music that we've made, and look at, Jared, how many modern bands today, especially rock and roll bands, do you think when they interview them, do they say, what were your influences? And they go back and they say, oh, Jimmy Page, Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath was an influence of mine. This Jimi Hendrix was an influence of mine. It's very, very common to talk to rockers today, and they will tell you that they were influenced by bands like Black Sabbath and so on and so forth. But in 1980, the popular thought process and you did not hear Black Sabbath singles on radio stations. Everybody thinks today, you'll hear Paranoid, you'll hear Iron Man, you'll hear War Pigs, and heck, they're even playing freaking Sweet Leaf on the radio stations today. They would have never touched that album. They would have never in the 80s, they wouldn't have touched it. It would have been forbidden for them to play that. NIB, Nativity in Black, and I think, quite frankly, the best. I like the original, but the Primus version with Ozzy just blows me away every time I hear it. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I want you to be so good that your critics will one day look like fools. I want you to aspire to be so good that the people that are criticizing you today, in years to come, people like me and will look at those critics and say, wow, they were a bunch of pretentious ass clowns. And do you know why Black Sabbath got 1-star ratings on their albums? Go back and listen to them now. If you've got an ear for music, and I know some of you people listen to country, and there's nothing I can do for you. I'm sorry, I just can't help you. But for the rest of you that actually have an ear for music, go back and listen to the old stuff. Put on some headphones. Just put on some headphones and listen to an early Sabbath album, and you will be blown away by the talent, by the instrumentalism. You're like, wow, I didn't even know what I was missing. It's like something you've never heard before. And that is why, Jared, that is why I believe they got so much crap from these pretentious ass clowns at places like Rolling Stone. Because they were different. They weren't redoing the Rolling Stones formula. They weren't redoing the Beatles formula. They weren't redoing anything. They were their own band. And we're like, oh, you're weird, you're strange, you're da da da. And I know all the like occultist stuff that people, the rumors, and like, oh, but they worship the devil. It's like, they don't worship the devil, whatever. Oh. But the fact of the matter is, look at today. If today I was to tell you, if you were to go to any you go to the Hard Rock hotels, the Hard Rock cafes, and they have pictures of Black Sabbath on the walls. They have Black Sabbath autographed guitars on the walls, and they're proud of them, man. They're proud of them. Freaking Black Sabbath's doing a sold-out reunion show at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And this is a band that in 1980, every one of their albums was given a 1-star review, except for Paranoid, which was given. Imagine, all right, think of 5 grades, A, B, C, D, E, F, or A, B, C, D, F, because I don't know why. So basically, the Rolling Stone gave an F grade to every one of their albums, and they decided to be generous. And because of Paranoid, the single Paranoid, they gave it a D. Not a C, not a B, not an A. They gave them all D's and F's. But you talk to, if any member of Black Sabbath walked into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or any of these things where these music critics today are, they would be fawning over them as the grandfathers, the godfathers of rock and roll. These are our roots. They would point to them and they'd say, that's our roots right there. This is where we come from. 30 years ago, we wouldn't have spoken to them on the street. And that is my challenge to you. I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know what you do, what your job is, what your career is, what you aspire to, whether you have a small business, whether you just want to be the best guy at your place. But I challenge you. I want you to be so good. I want you to be so outstanding. I want you to be so good that the people who are criticizing you today, in a year, 2, 5 years, people will say, God, remember when that guy was tearing him down? What a dumbass. What a jerk. What a fool. How many of you knew that? How many of you guys knew that? That Black Sabbath, you look at them today, they're like these classic rock gods. They couldn't even get a free cup of coffee in 1980. So that is my challenge to you. Black Sabbath. You think, who's laughing all the way to the bank now? Huh? Who's laughing? Ozzy Osbourne was broke. How many of you guys know that? When he released his Diary of a Madman album, he was broke. Blizzard of Oz, all the way back to the early 80s. They had nothing. They lived on the tour bus to try and make money. So think about that. So when people criticize you, when people don't get it, when you do your absolute best and you put your heart and soul into something, and people who aren't doing it but have decided that they're going to criticize it, they're not doing what you're doing. They're not working. They're not trying. But their job is to sit over to the sidelines and criticize you and how you're performing. Think about Black Sabbath's Revenge. Think about that.
It's a lot easier for people to knock you down to their level than it is for them to learn to levitate.
That's right. That's right. All right. It is a Thursday. And, of course, we've got our Student of the Gun Homeroom brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters. Badges.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready. It's 2012, all about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to the ready. You don't believe me, just so deep into the soul of the lion's eyes. Come to the ready. The Constitution of our nation is under attack. Say it. Come to the ready. The government is ours and we need to take it back. Come on, yeah. Let's talk about carrying some guns. You going to talk about carrying some guns? Why not? It's Crossbreed Holsters, Student of the Gun Homeroom. Now, multiple knives or multiple guns? That is the question. A lot of you knife guys out there, bless your hearts. Jared's like, knife people? You're crazy. Okay, you are crazy people. We love you, and we welcome you at our table. But you're a bunch of lunatics. You're like crazy people. Knife guys. A knife guy always like a knife guy's a guy who has at least 3 knives on him. Knife guys are the ones that actually carry sharpening stones in their pocket, like everywhere they go. Knife guys don't have any hair on their forearms. But knife guys will tell you need to always have 2 knives on your body at all times. You've got one to fight with, and then you have one for utility tools. And they'll say, no, that knife there, that one, no, that I don't use that knife to open up UPS packages or to cut twine or to pry stuff or to get splinters or clean my finger. No, that knife there, that's for fighting. That's only for people. And this knife here is for everything else, for utility chores. And because I got to make sure that knife, if I use it to open UPS boxes and stuff, it'll get dull and then it won't be any good when I need to fight for my life with it. And I'm like, dude, you carry a sharpening stone in your pocket. Come on. And you know who carries that? Who purports the always 2 knives or 3 knives, or there's some knife people that, like, if they fell in a river they would drown because there's so much steel attached to their body. But you know who does that? People that don't carry guns. We've had people in the glorious People's Republic of California who told us about, I carry a minimum of 2 knives, one for fighting, one for utility and stuff. And I said, you know what I carry for fighting? A gun. And then you know what else I have? I have another gun. So by the time I've got that knife out, I've already gone through at least 2 guns. So when it comes down to it, if you're, whether it's, well, what's wrong with that, Paul? I carry 2 knives, a utility and a killing knife, and I carry 2 guns. Dude, rock on, man. Rock F on. I hope you never fall into a river. Okay? If you do, whatever. But when it comes to priorities, now I know some of you are slaves and you're not allowed to carry guns because your slave master told you that you're not allowed to. And I'm like, I got that. But the truth of the matter is, most of you slaves who live in slave areas where your master has forbidden you to have a gun, most of them, they're not going to smile on you having a sharp instrument on your body either. If you hide a knife on your body, a dirk, dagger, or a stiletto. How many of you guys have ever gone back and read the statutes, your state statutes, and they specifically forbid the carrying of dirks, daggers, and stilettos? Jared, what state is it where you're not allowed to have Death Stars?
Tennessee?
Is it Tennessee or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
That specifically has the word Death Star written into the state legislation.
Yeah. So you can't own a giant ship.
Or can you? Or can you carry a Death Star? I think that's a question for the ages. Can I carry a Death Star? Am I allowed to own a Death Star? So what I'm going to tell you guys is this. Do I always have a knife on me? Yes, I do. Do I usually have 2 knives on me? Actually, I do usually have 2 knives on me because I've secured one of them to my keychain so that if I have my keys, I always have a knife, and then I always have one attached to my body. It's not because I imagine I'm going to fight Now, could I and would I fight my way out of a bad situation with a knife? Sure, I would. But I think I would get started with the more noisy option.
If he says that one more time, I'm going to grab a butter knife and start taking hostages.
That's right. I'm going to grab butter knife and start taking hostages. So, priorities before you load yourself down like Blade or the guy in the opening scene of The Crow. Before you weigh yourself down with a leather vest with stilettos and dirks and daggers, you might want to get a couple of handy guns and practice with them. I'm just saying. All right, kids, I hope you had fun today. If you didn't have any fun, you know what? You need to write to P.O. Box 405, Boulder, Colorado, and request a sense of humor, and they will send you one. For the rest of you, for all you grad program freaks, hold on to your hats because mañana... did you see the title of tomorrow's show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I put an asterisk there.
Yeah, it's going to be guns and... We're going to discuss all of the... There's even more people that are losing their minds, but the good news is these people are all outing themselves as enemies of the state. Not enemies of the state, enemies of the people.
Yeah.
So that's good that you know who your enemies are because they're going to point it out to you.
So I want to make this public because we've had a lot of requests for it as the address to ship stuff to.
Oh, okay.
Because people don't know, I guess. The best address to reach us is...
Physical address.
Yes, physical address is P.O. Box 7552, D'Iberville, Diberville, Mississippi 39540, and just address it to Jared Markle. It'll get to the right person.
All right, there you go. Or follow us on Facebook, and you'll be aware of that, too.
There you go.
All right, grad program. We'll talk to you tomorrow. The rest of you freaks, we will talk to you on Monday. I'm out of here.